Machine learning and AI is not always the solutions, okay? To identify whether machine learning is required to solve a business problem, it's very important to evaluate both problem and nature and the data availability. Not every problem needs a machine learning and AI solutions that everybody is talking out there. So asking a series of proper questions can help clarify if machine learning is appropriate for your business problem and beneficial to your business problem. So here I'm going to give you some of the steps and approach that makes in this analyzing better. Okay. Number eight, define the business problem very clearly, which is super important. So what do I mean by that? So what is the business goal or objective? Be very specific about the desired outcome. Are you aiming to increase the customer retention, like different type of model, or optimizing operations, or predict future trend, or predict disease? What are you trying to do? And next is what decisions will the solution inform, right? So clarify the type of decision the model will help you. Like ML is only valuable if it helps automate or improve the decision-making process for the business. Otherwise, you'll be just spending a lot of time and money. Number two, check if the problem is predictive or pattern based. Okay, so not all the problems are predictive. Is the problem predictive? Machine learning is valuable when you need predicting unknown or the future outcomes. Example, let's just say predicting disease, predicting cancer, forecasting sales, predicting customer churn, right? Establishing a demand, that sort of things. And the next is does problem involve finding patterns? Okay, machine learning is all about finding a pattern, creating a formula. Okay, so ML is useful if solution requires identifying a patterns, anomalies, or classifications within the complex dataset. Now remember, it has to have the large complex dataset. Example, detecting fraud, classifying the customer segmentations, classifying disease, identifying object in the image, so many more. So if the problem is neither predictive nor require a complex pattern recognition, so like simple dataset, maybe few hundred, then rule-based approach or the simple statistic might be the better way to go. Okay, that should be sufficient. Number three, assess the data availability and quality. You have to have enough data. Okay, so do you have the data related to the problems, right? Do you have enough fields and the samples? Machine learning relies on data to make the predictions or discovery pattern you need on historic, real-time, or the relevant data to the specific problem, right? Like we talked about earlier, whether it could be about customer transaction data set, operation data set, patients data set, real-time time series data set. Is the data structured and represented, right? So you also need to have the structure and representable data. ML requires structured data for training, and it should accurately represent the scenario the model will encounter in the productions. Not only that, we have to ask our questions. Is there enough labeled data? So labeled data is important. If the problem requires supervised learning, right, predicting cancer or predicting disease or category value, then having a labeled data is very, very important. You got to label your data before you can build the model. So if there is a sufficient data or poor quality data, the effectiveness of the model will be limited, right? Without sufficient data and data quality, the model will not be good, even if you build it. So it'll be a waste of resources. Next, number four, evaluate the complexity and scale of the problem, right? So is the problem too complex for rule-based? If it is simple rule-based, then no need to build machine learning model. If it is too complex and needs some pattern recognitions, and if it is so large that it's unmanageable or insufficient due to the complexity or the volumes of data, then machine learning can simplify in decision making. Next, does the problem require adaptations over the time, right? Is it changing over the time? Then the machine learning model can learn from the new data set over the time, even if the data changes, which makes them suitable for evaluating a scenario. Example, like we mentioned earlier, changing market conditions or patients' demographics, seasonal demand shift, and so on and so forth. So if a rule-based approach becomes impractical, right? It's too rigid, too large data set, then ML might be very, very helpful. Next, consider the business impact and return on investment, which is super important, right? Will the machine learning model deliver measurable value? Will it make me money, right? So evaluate the potential business impact if the model works well. Will it reduce the cost? Will it increase the revenue? Will it improve customer experience? Will it save patients' life? Will it prolong the patient's life? Will it help doctor treat the disease, and so on and so forth? Is the investment in ML model worth the expected return on investment? because ML projects involve cost, cost for data processing, model training, deployment, maintenance. Not only that, considering the cost and benefit ratio to ensure that ML model solution provides significant return on investment is very important. Next, if ML model provides marginal value or maybe just a weak ROI, then the simple rule-based approach might be sufficient for your business problem. Number 6, gauge the need for automations and real-time decision making, right? So is there a need for automations, right? So where you want to make the predictions every week or every month, or real-time processing, then machine learning is often beneficial for the automations or repetitive tasks or making a real-time decision. Example again, recommending a product, for example, in Amazon, right, in real time, and detecting fraud or detecting medical fraud or detecting cancer, so on and so forth. So does the business needs continuous learning and adaptations? If the business problem requires ongoing improvements or based on the new data set, then ML model can enable adaptive and scalable solutions as well. So in summary, if the answer to these following questions are yes, then applying machine learning model will be very useful for your business use cases. And